Hello, my name is Suzanne and I'm your Zoom host for today, and I'm here to assist our presenters. So the presenters we have today are Emily Stevenson, Nicole, Pablo, and Kathy Wardwell. So a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. If you could please keep yourself muted, that would be very appreciated. If you have questions, please enter it in the HOVA Q&A, in the Q&A section. And the window is to the right of your video. We'll be uploading the breakout presentation materials and the recordings for this breakout, which will be available for attendees to access after the conference is over. And after the breakout, please click on the button Rate Session to complete a brief survey. And then allow the presenters, I'd like to allow the presenters now to introduce themselves and take it away. Thank you for being here.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Stevenson, and I'm the lead CTE counselor for career technical education in Poway Unified. This is my 4th year in this position. Prior to working for Poway Unified, I was the co-director of college counseling at an independent school. I've worked for a charter school as the director of college advising. And then I also spent over 14 years working in college admissions for a couple different universities. So that's my background and what I bring to Poway.
I can go next. Thank you for being here. My name is Nicole Pablo. I am a middle school counselor at Twin Peaks Middle School here in Poway as well. It is my 4th year. It's my first full year as a Poway counselor full-time. Previously, I was split between 2 middle schools, Meadowbrook Middle School, which I think we'll share a little bit of information about their work also in regards to our CTE work and Twin Peaks. So it's really nice to be at one site and see how the pathways lead into high school and support our kiddos. Prior to that, I was at another middle school in San Diego, and I've also had some elementary counseling experience too. So I love education. I love counseling. I've worked at San Diego State University. I've worked all over the place in regards to just my passion that got me into counseling in the first place, and is the college and career readiness. And so I'm honored to be here to share a little bit about the work we're doing here in Poway and just how we can support our students, make sure that they reach their goals and being successful and figuring out what they want to do with their lives.
Thanks, you guys. I'm Carly Wardwell. I am one of the counselors here at Poway High School. This is my 3rd year in this position, which is actually kind of unique. My job doesn't have part of the alphabet as a caseload. I'm actually split between intervention counseling and CTE counseling. So I'll be presenting more on the CTE piece today. My first year at Poway High School, I was part-time just intervention counselor, and then we got a grant with CTE, which allowed us to become full-time, which was awesome. And I've really been enjoying all of the CTE work because honestly, I didn't know much about it before I started. So I've learned a ton in the past 3 years, and I'm really excited to share everything that we're doing.
Awesome. Thanks, ladies. Yeah, we're very excited and fortunate in Poway. We have actually 5 site-based counselors who 50% of their job is to support CTE. So Carly being one of those. And then that's really helped us with aligning with middle schools, which we're going to talk about today, and aligning with the CTE in middle schools, better preparing students for college and career after high school. So, all right. So we thought it was kind of best to start out by just sharing the mission statement for Poway Unified. This is a newer mission statement. I think that's maybe been around for a couple years now, but just inspiring passion and preparing every student to thrive in college, career, and life by providing personalized, rich, and rigorous learning experiences. And we thought that was important just because that's really what we're coming to share today, is how is the work we're doing supporting this mission and really helping our students to thrive, not just post-secondary in college and career, but in life. So starting out, what is career technical education? So in Poway Unified, we really see this as some of our core academic courses that support the core academic learning. They're high demand, and really the application of knowledge and skills is a big component of CTE. In our district, we offer CTE K through 12. So we do start with those Project Lead the Way courses in elementary school, Gateway and Elective Wheels in middle school, and then the CTE pathways at our high schools. We have 12 of the 15 high growth industry sectors that are identified by the state, and 7 of those career pathways have been identified as emerging industry sectors. So in the city of San Diego or the county of San Diego. So, and we've been really working to align with the San Diego and Imperial counties middle and high school college and career development continuum, which I was going to link here, but I will link it before I upload that to the share drive. But those continuums are really what, when I first came into the district, that's what I was asked to really help make sure that we're aligning with, and we've done a lot of work with counselors to help them understand the curricula or the continuum and how that can really support students in their future readiness. So we're going to share a video to start out that just talks about the STEM at Twin Peaks and how that supports them preparing for high school, the students preparing for high school. Let's hope this is the right video. You hear it?
With automated cars on the horizon, future automotive engineers may be in this very classroom. In the STEM program at Twin Peaks Middle School, students are exploring robotics and coding.
I really like how we started to build with wax, like robots, but after we started programming them, it became even cooler than I expected it to be. So like in the end of the year, she told us we're going to do something big, and now I know it's coding. It's really awesome, I would say.
The STEM program is in its first year at Twin Peaks, thanks to the support of the Bosch Community Fund and the Career Technical Education Department of Poway Unified School District.
So they approached our school district and asked us to propose something to them that they could support to try to get ethnic minorities, girls into STEM, students that typically aren't exposed to that or aren't in those classes. So we started this program at Twin Peaks.
The grant funds engineering kits and curriculum for students who may be exploring science and technology careers for the first time.
I like how it has to do with engineering because I always knew that I liked science and math, but I didn't really know what I wanted until I went into this class. I figured out that engineering is like what I liked.
My favorite part is how we work together as a team and do the challenges with the robots.
The classes emphasize hands-on learning and problem solving.
Oh, I think it's been incredible. It really has helped to bring the learning alive for them. It's given them so many opportunities to explore different careers, to face challenges and learn to persevere and be persistent.
The learning environment is modeled after a workplace to prepare students for college and careers.
The challenges and expectations that I give them, we work directly towards the way it would work in a corporation or a job, or what would your boss want. So they say, am I going to fail? And I say, well, no, but you might get fired. It has a purpose to it.
After its first year's success, the grant will fund similar programs at other PUSD middle schools in the coming school year.
Okay, and that video is actually a few years old. I think it predates the wheel, but I think it's just a great way to see how that impacts students in middle school and how that can really help them to define what they might want to explore in high school. So we thought that was kind of neat. And it's neat to talk to students who are now in high school who can say, oh, I did CTE in the middle school, and that's why I'm in this engineering pathway. So, okay, so we'll let you take it away, Nicole and Carly.
So here in middle school, kind of like the kids alluded to, we've got a wheel. There are 4 spokes of the wheel. We've got art, so they get to use their hands in creating different types of art, learning foundations. STEM, just like you saw in the video, hands-on engineering and coding. Leadership, so they've got the basic study skills, leadership habits. We throw in some AVID strategies as well for academic success skills. And then we've got video production. So they learn some of the fundamentals of video production, if they want to be on the screen, if they want to be behind the screen, setting and all that. So all the students get to access that part of the wheel for about 9 weeks each. And then at the end of the quarter or mid-quarter, they'll shift over to the next part of the next spoke of the wheel to try something new teacher, new experiences. And from what I hear from the students, is that they love it. And we'll go into that in a second, but lots of different classes that feed into the high school and different parts of the CTE pathways that we have. So they're getting just a little taste of it all. If we can skip to, or is there anything else on here that we wanted to add?
Yeah, I was just going to share. So a lot of the stuff that the middle school students are learning in 6th grade and then as they continue on with these pathways in 7th and 8th are things that directly relate to what we're doing at the high school level with the CTE pathways. So on the wheel, you can see the different pathways that we offer at Poway High School, and then the little ziggly lines are how it relates to the middle school. So it's really cool that students come in with some experience and some interest in different kind of pathways. I mean, they're always more than welcome to try every class here at Poway High School, but it's cool for them to come in having some idea of what they're interested in as well, because there's so many options, and coming in as a 9th grader is overwhelming already. So knowing that they're going into a class that they're comfortable in their 9th grade year is really cool.
Yeah, and just kind of to add on to that too is when we're thinking about pathway completion and we're looking at the California dashboard and kind of what, you know, at the district level, at the high school level, we want to see more pathway completion. More than that, we want to see students find meaning and figure out who they are and what they like doing. And so really from the bigger picture is the more exposure they have at an earlier age, the more, the deeper they can dive into these areas when they get into high school. And the desire to go higher on into those pathways, not just taking those introductory level classes, but really going through the capstone and the concentrator and becoming a pathway completer. That's kind of the bigger picture of it as well, is, as we know, students who complete those CTE pathways really are better prepared for the next step, whether they pursue a college major or a career in that industry, or simply because they've gained transferable skills and they've learned a little bit more about themselves. So they're going to interview better. They're going to be able to articulate their goals or their strengths a lot better, or experiences better in a personal statement or an essay. So I think really when we look at it from a bigger picture, goes so far beyond just a middle school wheel. And that's kind of like the stepping stones for it. And we put agriculture on there as well, because I think the plan is to also have ag in that wheel. But obviously with COVID, that's been a little bit more challenging to implement. So, but I do think that's something that's going to come in the future. All right.
I think too, in regards, you can go ahead and switch to the
no, yeah.
But prior to the wheel, we had all these wonderful elective classes, and we still do. The wheel isn't the only elective class that students have to choose from. It's one of the many. But with the wheel, it's so much more strategic for our kiddos, kind of like what Emily and Carly are saying, so that they can sample it and then continue to dive deeper. So also like what they were saying, the kiddos that do choose the wheel, they reiterated not only what the students were saying in the video. I had to interview a few of them because I wanted to see, it's been a few years, things have changed, maybe some of the generational interests have changed, but the kids still absolutely love the wheel, because as you can see there, they feel like they're taking a bunch of classes. I even sometimes have students who ask to change electives within their spoke of the wheel. I'm like, wait, time out, you'll get a little bit of chance, just give it a few more weeks, because they like the variety. They like learning new things. It blew my mind when the student literally said, it helps us make informed choices about our classes. These are my 6th, 7th, and 8th, or 6th graders are going to 7th and 8th, and that's what they're wanting. They're looking to have as much information as they can, hands-on life experience, so that they can make better choices to go into their year-long 7th and 8th grade and then high school. It helps you choose better paths. They literally are using the language we're using. I don't know if the teachers are mirroring it or what, but they get it, and choosing your possible career. And then they also know that helps them for college as well. Some of the things that they shared that they learn also mirrored what the video had said, that they're learning time management, presentation skills, teamwork, engaging audiences, and better listening as well. So what we're hearing when we first started the wheel is still something that is mirroring what the students are sharing now, and their excitement for all the variety and how it prepares them. Some of the photos that we have there, I think it's from the leadership class to the right, where they did International Women's Day. So talking about what leadership skills that other people possess that they would like to build and grow on. and then a little bit of artwork as well in relation to the leadership skills, because our elective wheel teachers also collaborate so that there's that articulation in the conversations that their friends are having if they're in the different spoke of the wheel. So it's really cool to see that. And then we've got a little piece snippet, just a visual of some of our students who are working in the video production piece of as well. So it's really awesome to be able to see them kind of dabble in it. And then those who are interested, they automatically know which path that they want to lead into. And sometimes the students, they just really like exploring the different classes so that when they do reach the high school, they're ready to choose. I mean, they've had a little bit more experience. It's kind of like how in high school we're exploring and then you pick your major in college, whereas we get to do it even earlier with them. So the wheel is a really cool experience and opportunity for our kiddos. So just to reiterate again, you'll see briefly, I mentioned the some of our elective choices here at Twin Peaks. You've got the exploratory wheel at the top for 6th grade, and then some of our year-long classes, like we've got Gateway to Tech or our STEM class within the exploratory wheel, but we also know some students already kind of like that, already kind of know, and so we give them that opportunity. We've got a year-long art, AVID, our orchestra, band, and ASB, and as the years go on, they have a little bit more choices to build on it, and if they tried it in the exploratory wheel as well, so let's say they try the quarter of art in the exploratory wheel, they'll have the opportunity to join an advanced art in 7th grade or an advanced art in 8th grade. So they're really just, like we said, really diving deep and having more exposure and opportunities to learn more about the elective or the field or the area that they're learning about.
And then once they get into high school, it's really nice working with Twin Peaks because almost all of their students come to Poway High School. So it's nice that we have a direct feeder middle school. So when they come into 9th grade, one of the biggest things that we do is get them into our career exploration tool that we have called Zello, which we'll dive a little bit deeper in. I'm actually in the process of giving those presentations this week to all of our 9th graders. So that just helps them further explore any of these careers. We also go over what CTE is, because I think a lot of times students have no clue what those letters actually mean and what the difference between CTE and a different elective might be. So we go over all of that stuff with them. But the exploration doesn't stop in 9th grade. I know we didn't add more to this slide because it already has a ton of stuff on it, but we continue to use CTE and Zello throughout their 4 years of high school. We're going to talk a little bit more about the course planner that all students are going to be using moving forward. So there's just a lot of good things happening. And then we actually go through before the student's senior year to see if we have any students who are maybe close to completing a pathway. And we have individual meetings with those students to see if that pathway is something they want to continue with, the benefit of being a completer in a pathway, and just really reiterating all of the good things that CTE can offer for students.
Awesome. And we, at the beginning, we forgot to tell you all, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the Whoobit chat. I know Suzanne mentioned it, but also if it's something pertaining to a specific slide, it's okay to interrupt. So just make sure Suzanne knows and she'll interrupt us and make sure we get that question. We'll also have time at the end. And I always joke around too when I look at the wheel and I look at some of the stuff we're going to share with you. I feel like marketing is the hardest thing for CTE. We're kind of like the best kept secret, and we shouldn't be a secret. And it's not that we're hidden, we're everywhere. We're really intertwined throughout all of our schools, and students are exposed to CTE all over the place, but they don't really realize what those letters mean. Like Carly said, so I think it's really that early exposure and really using the language and students understanding that these are career pathways. We also have, once they get to high school, we have the courses for college credit, which are our articulated courses that we have with Palomar College. So there's definitely opportunities for students to really dive deeper as they go through high school, like Carly mentioned, but we just have to better market it. And I think this wheel is part of that process. So middle school outreach and school events. Our middle schools, a lot of them like to do career fairs. We're actually currently I'm meeting with some of our counselors from other high schools with their feeder middle schools, trying to come up with a way of how can we make the career fair more meaningful for our middle school students. We have some ideas about involving the CTE, so bringing high school students to the middle school as ambassadors, so that we're partnering them with our career or business partners, so that students can not only learn about careers, but what is the pathway to that career through high school. We have a big CTE expo that our district hosts every year, which is basically an opportunity for students to demonstrate their learning throughout the year. So what have they been working on in their pathway? We've historically hosted it with at a location that's like a Sony or Petco, or one of our business partners in our community, and families and other business partners, board members, community members. They can all come and kind of see what all the great things our students are doing. This year, we're taking it a step further, and we're actually offering a virtual CTE. We were calling it an expo, but I think it's really going to be like a preview event in January before course selection, really focusing on allowing our students and our teachers to really expose future students to possibilities. And so really looking at how can we better educate our middle school students on opportunities at the high school level. And that's that CTE preview event. Actually, I will say, thanks to the pandemic, we have been able to really start an ambassador program that's district-wide. Zoom allowed the platform to make that happen. So really using our CTE ambassadors to better market the courses we have at our high schools to middle schoolers. We mentioned the middle school wheel already. Something else that we're trying to do that COVID has really thrown a wrench into, we were going to do one at Twin Peaks, and then the week before everything shut down, but business lunches. So opportunities for our middle school students to dine with business partners. So we were going to pilot it with just 20 students and bring in food and our business partners, and allow students to not just learn about career paths, but to also learn those soft skills. So many business interviews take place over a meal. So how do you eat while you're trying to carry on a conversation? Where's your fork? Where's your knife? Where's your drink? Where's your bread? Like all those things that we forget, eye contact. So that was kind of the idea behind that. And we're actually currently trying to make it happen again with some of our students that maybe fall more in the intervention category with Twin Peaks. So that's currently in the process. Obviously classroom presentations about CTE, and then early CTE exposure. Okay, I'm gonna play this video because it's really cool. Bear with me because there might be an ad at the beginning. Let's hope this is the right one. Oh, it didn't, perfect. Okay.
Elementary and middle school students from across Poway Unified got to experience Balboa Park as their classroom for the day, as they worked together to create high-quality films, all using iPhones.
Well, like you could show people your videos and like communicate through videos.
We run a workshop called We Make Movies Smartphone Studio, and this is teaching people that they can make a movie no matter what their budget is.
You're gonna lock the tilt?
For me, seeing everyone get together, elementary, middle school, high school, and seeing people getting together and authentically creating things together is how the world gets better.
The two-day workshop was the result of the Poway Unified Career Technical Education Program, collaborating with Apple and We Make Movies to teach students about the fundamentals of mobile filmmaking, and along with that, many additional skills to prepare students for college, career, and life.
Video production is a great way for them to incorporate the skills that they're learning in all of their classes. Critical thinking, creative thought, also organization, time management, being able to communicate with others. The more years I've taught video, the more things I realize that there's crossover into other areas of life.
We hope that with early exposure in the elementary and middle school, students are making informed choices so that they know day one when they step onto a high school campus, a pathway is right for them.
As technology advances, students of all ages have increased access to storytelling, with so many movie-making tools available to them.
Remember how to label your
What I like about film is that I get to express myself.
It's probably not that long to do. It's wonderful to go from station to station and see all these young people just
in a few hours filming and creating their own movie.
We used this little stuffed animal, and then we put it in this tree, and then we pretended that it was a real animal, and then it was stuck in the tree.
From filming to editing, the students were able to work alongside industry professionals to hone their skills and take back what they learned to their own schools.
To see them take so much pride in their work has just been amazing.
I want the students to learn how to create and edit the videos themselves, and it's using technology, and it's something that they can use their creativity in creating things that they're interested in.
The workshop culminated with a screening for parents in the RBHS Performing Arts Center.
I saw a lot of really impressive work product in there, thing that I had, 20, 30 years ago, so I'm really impressed with that.
The program has helped launch a new generation of filmmakers, from Chicago to New Mexico, and now here in San Diego. For the Excellence in Education series, I'm Gabe Tolo, Studio 701.
All right. So I just think that's a great exposure, or a great example of just what early exposure can do for students. Also, I didn't mention that all these videos I'm showing you are actually done by Studio 701, which is our digital media production or broadcast journalism internship in our district. So students from across the district are admitted into this internship and are able to produce these professional quality videos, which come in very handy when we're presenting. But just great example of just, the students that are creating these videos, or the students that were in that video you just watched could be students that are creating these videos for the district and beyond in the future. So again, just that early exposure, helping students figure out what they want to do earlier on, or just exposure to what's available to them. And we always say too that, even if a student takes a class and hates it, awesome, you figured out something you don't like to do. What do you like? Let's try something else. Or what did you like about it? And maybe we can figure out another way. So even taking a course and not liking it is still a success. The other thing we really focus on is including middle school counselors and teachers. I put counselors, but also teachers in our course selects. So when our photography teachers are meeting, inviting our middle school photography teachers, inviting teachers across the district to really talk so that what they're teaching in middle school aligns and sets the next step for what's happening in high school. And we really try to do that across the board with our courses district-wide.
One thing to add on with that,
oh, yeah.
that's come out of the course alikes with including middle school. I actually, right before we moved into distance learning, I went on a field trip with our photography classes here at Poway High School, and we went with the middle school, and each high school student was paired with a middle school student. They walked around Balboa Park. They had a whole list of things that they had to take pictures together, and some of the middle school students were teaching our high school students things. So it was really cool to see like our high school students almost being mentors, but also still learning from each other, even if the student was younger from them. So again, like that early exposure is really cool. And then seeing how it connects back to high school, I think makes it more real for those middle school students as well.
Absolutely. And a fresh pair of eyes, right? Like I always say that students definitely have a better perspective than I do on so many things because they see it differently. So it goes the same with middle to high school or even the elementary school students. Okay, so something else that we've done in our district that we think has worked really well is the conference attendance. So taking groups of teachers, counselors from feeder middle school and high schools to conferences together to give them time to not only obtain professional development, but to carve out time during that conference for them to sit down and talk. How do we want our middle school to align to our high school? And really, I think the middle school will we have is kind of a child of one of those experiences of being able to talk, of being able to, for these high school teachers and middle school teachers and principals and counselors to just connect and have time outside of the classroom and outside of the office where we're constantly interrupted and constantly pulled in 50 different directions to really sit down and focus on, who are we as educators and what do we want for our students? How can we work together to create a better, more, a richer experience for our students? And then our pathway slide deck. this was something, again, born out of COVID. How can we better market our programs to middle schoolers? So our office created a template of slides for each pathway that is school specific. And we turned it over to our teachers, and we asked them, and they're still a work in progress, but we asked them to kind of fill in fun facts, to just give an overview of what their course is, what's offered at that high school. So it'll just help us share that with our middle school teachers, with our middle school counselors. So when students are in the middle of the course selection process, they have a better idea of what's being offered and what's available. And not just at the middle school level, but at the high school level as well for students who are new. So this is just an example. One of our engineering teachers filled out, she put all the pictures in, or her students most likely put all the pictures in, the courses that are offered. And then just, again, we're going to talk about Zello in a minute, but linking it to Zello, making sure they know who their CTE counselor is. We also use a program called NEPRIS in our district that is virtual career speakers or industry professionals. So we started linking it to, like, if we were to click on this, it would take us to a video on an architect who talks about what he does or she does in his life or in his career. But the idea is so for students to get a bigger picture of what that career looks like. And then opportunities to get involved at their high school. So like I said, these are work in progress. This is definitely kind of the start of one, but just to give you an idea of something that we're doing in order to try and continue that outreach. All right. Perfect.
So I know we've mentioned Zello a few times now. So Zello is our career exploration tool. It's available for all students in middle school, high school, and all of the data that is collected from the student in middle school transfers up with them when they come to high school too. So it's really nice. It's not like the system gets wiped clean or anything when they enter 9th grade. We are still, COVID really threw a wrench in how we rolled this all out, but last year we were successful of having every student in the program at least one time. This year, they will definitely be in it more than one time. It has them go through different assessments, like a personality assessment and a bunch of different other assessments, how they learn and different things that help them, give them a big list of careers that would be a good match for them. So then they can start diving deeper into what careers they might be interested in, and then how that connects back to our classes here at Poway High School, as well as helping them make goals for what they want to do after high school. So this work in Zello starts in middle school, and then as they move up, we have them do a bunch of other stuff in it. The 9th grade presentations I'm giving this week, actually, quite a few students have been in Zello already in middle school, and they all roll their eyes and complain at me when I tell them that they have to retake the test again. But like I say to them, you're a different person than you were a year or 2 years ago. You're going to keep changing, so you're going to keep taking this test until you graduate. And it's going to keep giving them different career opportunities and different things for them to get interested in. We also use the data in Zello to really drive a lot of the things that we do here at Poway High School as well. So once a month, we have Trade Day Thursdays, where we have different trade professions come in and talk to students about their career and how they got to the position that they're in. And we use the data within Zello to pick what those careers are. So we see a bunch of students are really liking something in the auto industry. Maybe we'll have someone from Discount Tire come in and talk to students who are interested in that. The Career Speaker Series kind of goes the same way, and Emily has helped with that as well. They're more district level as well, so any student could attend those. Course planning is the newest thing that we're doing with Zello. So we actually inputted all of our courses into Zello, and it made a really clean 4-year plan for every student, and actually shows them how to be A through G as well, what classes they need to take. So that's been really helpful. And then the summer school exploration courses were new last year. So that was one good thing that came out of COVID as well. We had quite a few CTE classes over the summer, and one of them was actually building a tiny home. I don't know if it was on the news quite a bit, if anybody saw it. The tiny home's actually at Poway High School right now. So we have students that are still working on it. We have a class after school where they're actually doing all the plumbing inside of it right now. And it's kind of birthed this new interest here at school, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I think the summer school, Oh, I feel like it's echoing. Is it echoing for you guys? Okay, it's just mine. Okay. So the summer school exploration courses were really cool too, because they came out, the decision to host those courses came out after the CRF forms for course selection were created. So we really had to go back and target students who might be interested in them, since it wasn't a part of what they could choose when they were picking their classes, and also looking at the summer. And so we were actually able to pull the data in Zello and figure out, well, here's a bunch of students interested in, building in construction trades, or building and construction. So let's send an email to these students. Here's some students interested in public services. We're going to email them and let them know we're having a fire science class this summer. So it was kind of cool to be able to have that at our fingertips. And I think we've really just really started to scratch the surface of what having data like this available to us is going to how that's going to help us. So I think as more and more students use it, as we're able to use it more at the middle school level, I cannot wait to see how this drives what we're able to provide for students, and really targeting what the students want. What do the students need? How can we better support what their goals are? Because it comes up with careers that, like, a lot of students are like, why would I get matched with this? But you're able to dive a little deeper with them and say, well, let's look. Like, maybe you don't want to do this career, but let's talk about what skills, are a part of this career that you are interested in doing. Let's find something that kind of aligns with that. And so really being able to help them identify what those skills are and strengths that they have, and how those can be used with, in a multitude of different career and pathways. So it's really a lot more than just what I'm good at, but that's a big part of it. So it's been really fun and it's exciting. Right before this presentation, Carly and I were meeting about something else, and we logged into the Poway High School Zello, and we could see like hundreds of logins. And it was really cool because it's like, oh my gosh, we got so excited. Like, we're going to have more information. There's more students using it. So it's really exciting to kind of see this happening. And I'm just really glad that this COVID stuff is hopefully behind us more than it's in front of us, so that we're not going to have the hiccups with implementation. So that's very exciting for us. And we do still use California Career Zone. I know our middle schools still use it too. Also a great tool. If you don't have a product like Zello, there's still a lot of great exploration, career exploration and surveys. We really still like the Moneymaker activity in the Career Zone as well. I think we decided that as a CTE team, as a counseling team. So also a great program.
Just wanted to add, in the middle schools, we do very similar things that Carly had mentioned, kind of getting our students to use it. So we're building that system in place. I think we first started with small groups, and now we've gone, this year we're planning to do school-wide, so 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and making sure they take different surveys so that they don't feel like they're taking it over again, even though, just like Carly said, we reiterate the same thing, like, you're always changing, you're going to learn things. We throw all this information on the wall and hope some of it sticks, and then hopefully the next year, even more of it sticks. I also feel like we've been able to use it as an intervention as counselors, to be able to use it in our small group counseling. It helps engage them. And then when they do hear it in the classroom, they feel like experts. They feel like they've got a little bit more experience and can kind of show other people. I think too, tapping into the students who need a little bit more love and highlighting their strengths, because it is so personalized that these kiddos are learning that, there are certain things that I'm good at that maybe they're not as strong in, and plugging that in and using the strengths in the classroom with their peer relationships has been really cool. One thing that I found was amazing, I don't often see these kiddos engaged, the ones that maybe take a little bit of extra time of our time, that need a little bit more. When we had an intervention class, we got our Poway High School ambassadors to come in, and we had them facilitate the Zello. So they maybe went through the program already, and then the kiddos, my middle school kiddos, did the surveys, and we're looking at the different careers, and they were able to ask those questions right away, not from us old adults who, they don't listen to it, don't understand it, don't make sense to them, but they got to hear from the students. So that collaboration, the real life collaboration and question asking, from someone who's their age or that gets it, was really cool to see. I'd never seen my kids that engaged. And when they graduate or they promoted to high school, that's what they shared was the most impactful, what they remember the most. Are they, the high school ambassador is going to come again and we're going to do the quiz. So it was really, really cool to see not only their strengths and growth and their learning, but the collaboration and that partnership and mentorship. So I would definitely add that. And I think the visuals are cool enough too, where if in elementary, I don't know how much access you have there too, but I mean, you can always plant the seed for the 5th graders and 4th graders, and it's never too early. So.
Yeah. And we didn't take a screenshot of it, but it's kind of cool too, because if a counselor pulls up a student, like you have a student coming into your office and you can pull up that student's profile and, in 5 seconds, get a glimpse of, what are some things they're interested in? What kind of personality style do they have? How do they learn? As a course planner opens up, they'll also be able to see what they still need to graduate or to be an A through G completer or whatever it is. And it's kind of cool because I just think if you have a student coming in and they're not engaging in the classroom or something's going on, you can quickly see, oh, well, maybe they're not engaging in this class because this is how they learn. And that's just not the right fit. So, you might be able to find a way to really help engage a student who is more at risk or who is struggling a little bit more, just because you're able to now quickly see a little bit about them. And so I think that's kind of a cool feature of it as well.
Yeah, I think you guys both bring up really good points about like combining this with intervention, especially with my role, part CTE, part intervention. I use Zello all the time with my students who would maybe fall more in the intervention category, especially if motivation is a struggle for them and they don't even see the point in high school. They're like, whatever. So if you give them some type of goal to work toward, which is kind of what this one worksheet on the right is, their college, career, and life goal, it gives them something to work toward and makes them see a purpose in everything as well. On that last slide where the screenshot was of all the different careers that students had saved, their personality styles, their tactile style, or their learning styles, I like to show students that too, because I think they don't really understand a lot of that stuff, especially the learning styles. Like if they are more of a visual learner, then maybe they need to do some study habits or learn some study habits that fall more into that versus just your typical ones that maybe don't work the best for them. So that's something I go over with students as well, not so much on the career side, but just like getting through their classes. So Zello has become a really helpful tool. We use it. I use it. I'm actually doing it with 9th grade PE right now, but I know our English teachers, our history teachers, even our CTE teachers are using it. One of our CTE teachers uses it for resume building. One of her goals every year is to have all of her students make a resume. That's like their final project. So she makes them do it in Zello, and they have all trimester, they're inputting all their different volunteer opportunities. So Zello has really just become like this catch-all. And the cool thing is that they have access to it so early. So they can start inputting these volunteer opportunities when they're in middle school. When they get to high school, they already have half of a resume built. So it's really cool. And then from my perspective, I get to see what our incoming 8th graders, 6th graders, 7th graders, what they're all doing in Zello as well, so that I know moving forward what are good things that we can do at Poway High School too.
Awesome. And the worksheet on the left is one of our high schools created it and actually had all of their students complete these 3 sections, the matchmaker, personality styles, and explore careers. Each of their students did it before going through the CRF process. So before they met with their counselor for their one-on-one meeting, they were completing the sheet. And that was really, again, to help foster those conversations about, is this class appropriate? What should I be doing if this is a career that I'm interested in? How can I start preparing now? So that's why we shared this one with you. We really want to thank you for coming today. I think this middle to high school alignment is something that we are definitely striving to perfect. It's definitely in its infancy in our district, but we definitely see the benefits of the work we're doing. And now that we're back in person, we're super excited to kind of dive deeper into it and really collaborate more as counseling and teaching teams. So I don't know if you guys have anything you want to add, Nicole or Carly?
No, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been really awesome working with Nicole and her whole team at Twin Peaks. I do think that we're really lucky that we have a middle school that almost all of the students feed directly into our high school. And I know it can be more challenging when you don't have that. But just making those connections with the students early has been huge for us here.
Absolutely. And I don't know if anyone has any questions or comments or things that you've done that have worked really well that you'd want to share. But you can feel free to jump in. Or Nicole, if you have anything you want to add.
No, just to add on to Carla, thank you all for being here. Please, questions. I think that's where all the magic happens as well, and getting us to brainstorm. And not only for the students, but the collaboration with Carly and Emily and the other counselors as well. We're so busy with everything that we're juggling. And so the fact that we make the time to have these conversations, to have these meetings, to plan different things for our kiddos, whether it's the classes or different opportunities that we shared today, has been a blessing in itself as well. So many benefits.
Yeah.
I don't see any questions in the Q&A or the chat at this time, but feel free, everybody, to pop something in there if you have a question.
And if you think of it later, you're always welcome to email us, and I will put the slides into that shared drive, so you'll have access to them afterwards if you want to use any of it or review it.
Oh, we do have something in the chat. Oh, just a thank you so much. Great ideas for middle school